There's this club down the street that's fun, so I go in and shoot this woman in the head. And people are screaming and running all over, and there's blood everywhere. There's this cop next to me who sees what I did, but he's got body armor, so I can't shoot him. So I throw gasoline on him and light it, and he screams and runs around, and he died. There's this prostitute, and they're super hard to kill, so I grab a machete and cut her head off.
This PSA brings to question something that I think oftentimes goes unnoticed. The media often portrays violent video games as a major factor in adolescent aggression, but I think there's more to it than just that. Today, I'm going to be diving into the myth of, do violent video games cause violent behavior? Let's get into it. A blog that I thought covered this myth pretty well was one written by Richard Heimer. Here, he describes the responsibility parents have over their positive parenting styles in the home, as well as the supervision over their adolescents' exposure to violent video games. But one other factor that he describes here that I didn't see anywhere else was the responsibility that developers have over what they put in their violent video games. He suggests that they should incorporate some sort of self-reflection in the actions that these adolescent gamers make within these violent video games. If there's consequences to these actions, maybe there'll be better self-reflection. A good example of this is Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that follows the life of an outlaw named Arthur Morgan at the end of the Wild West and the start of civilization. This game follows morality in a way that you see the consequences of your actions unfold before you as you continue through the story, but it also forces you to reflect on those consequences at the end of the game. It even goes so far to show you how your actions affected other people even after your death in the game. But this kind of storytelling, while it's pretty intense, is pretty good in my opinion because it helps connect to the player in a more personal level, making those actions have more worth and meaning. But this still doesn't paint the whole picture. I've mainly been discussing the influence of video games, but adolescents aren't just gamers. They're also just human. By using the biopsychosocial model of psychology, we can see that there's many more factors at play here than just video games during development. Things like parental styles, familial environments, peer interactions, trauma, and even genetics were all found to be influences in development. So, by saying that these games are turning them into aggressive or violent individuals is setting aside all the other factors that are influencing their behavior. Things like divorce, neglect, even abuse were all found to be major influences in adolescent aggression. So, when they play these games, they often serve as an outlet for the stress and aggression that they feel in their lives, which then in turn can either further desensitize them to the violence they're exposed to, or it can act as a coping mechanism and further decrease that aggression they're feeling. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if parents want to decrease adolescent aggression, the best that they can do is just be there for them, monitor and supervise what they're being exposed to, and just set good examples for them.